Hello and welcome back to Speedrun, the fast-talking video game podcast.
Whoa.
It's a podcast. We are a podcast. We are keeping that in.
Okay.
This is our second time through on this episode.
Yes, it is. Because despite having an audio degree, Audacity decided, I want to work today. To which, I can totally respect it. I'm Jazzie.
I am Jamie. Joining us is Tark's Gauntlet.
Once again, the weird side of the podcast.
That's also me. What the heck?
Yeah, and me.
All right, so we're all the weird side of the podcast today.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's good to get some recognition around here.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I guess I'm the retro one. I mean, I'm a 23-year-old with back pains. That makes me a boomer, right?
What does that make me at 26 with back pain?
Ancient.
Okay, I'm the G.I. Jen of the podcast. Anyways, we're here to talk about Waifuware.
Yes, we are here to talk about Waifuware. But before we go into Waifuware, we were only a couple minutes into the last recording before we realized Audacity was being problematic. Poop Slinger on PS4.
No, we're not talking about Poop Slinger on PS4 and why it costs $13,000 with the original fucking Bubble Mailer.
Hey, that's
Tark,
with
you brought this game up.
That's with Bubble Mailer. That's not just for the Bubble Mailer. The Bubble Mailer is $400
if you
worth
want
of the
just
package.
Yeah, the Bubble Mailer is 420 USD.
It's the most expensive thing USPS ever made.
Truly.
But without going into Poop Slinger, before we shift to something that, I mean, I'm sure there are people who, how do I keep this somewhat PG-13? We've already gotten our one F-bomb. People like all sorts of things. Can confirm, Poop Slinger is a very real video game that actually got a limited physical release, yes?
Hey, Jamie, remember how we were talking about how there's a very prominent video game publisher who's courting us right now?
Yes. Yes, we were.
Hi, publisher. I'm Jazzie. Good to talk to you. I'm sorry that I said a no word. I'm going to go back retroactively and throw a Sonic coin over that. Sorry that we're talking about a game about poop. Let's do the show. Let's do the show. Let's do the fucking show.
So yes, before I potentially, I mean, I don't know, they've been chill, but before I potentially get kicked out of the Ubisoft Canada Guild.
Oh, we can say that now?
Oh yeah, no, we've been able to say that since mid-April.
Hi, Ubisoft. We love you.
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
I've been enjoying the PS5 copy of Immortals Phoenix Rising y'all sent me. It's really good. I'm not being paid to say that, and I am looking forward to my t-shirt that's coming in the mail too.
Ooh.
But I'm going to start the timer because Tarks, very quickly give an overview of your YouTube channel for the audience at home.
My YouTube channel is mostly just focused on like really niche, really weird things that you might not see get covered all that much. We mentioned Waifuware, not quite an ongoing series right now. Like I'll do one here or there if I find an interesting game, but those are like the cheap dollar games on Steam that you suit. Well, a lot of sexualized content. We just take an honest look at them. Most of them aren't very good. Otherwise, mostly things like JRPGs or just weird games that fly under the radar. I started a game recently, literally called Dead or School, which with a title like that, like, you're in for something.
How could you not?
How could you not?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very early on. It's about as poorly made as I thought it would be, and I'm kind of digging it. I'm kind of digging how poorly made it is. But that's basically just what I do. Kind of high-end reviews of more weird things, I guess.
So something like Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash wouldn't be Waifuware because it's like a AAA, quote AAA game and it's professionally developed. But something like a RPG Maker game with a very, very specific focus would be Waifuware?
Yeah, more or less. When it comes to Waifuware, I kind of describe it with two basic terms. Obviously, you have your waifus, so that's part of the visual aesthetic of the game more than anything, or the selling point of the game, what they use to get the game out there. and then the ware part from shovelware. So games that are literally just usually cobbled together or sold like shovelware. They're not all shovelware. Some of those games are all right. Games like Mirror, which is it's just a match 3 game, but like it's actually pretty high quality. It got a Switch release last year as well, if I recall correct. They had to cut some content out, but it did get a Switch release.
Cool.
So yeah, shovelware with waifus. That's about how I wrap it up.
Love it.
I guess, expanding slightly from the initial waifuware topic, did this interest for your channel come from, were you interested in shovelware in general beforehand? Like, how did that come across?
I've always had like a interest in just things that are different, and like, well, a lot of shovelware is kind of a garbage tier stuff that you've played a billion times before but done worse. A lot of it too is just unique ideas that people don't have the money or knowledge to figure out how to properly build. So I like looking into these budget games for those things more than anything.
And then, of course, the waifuware slant, because, I mean, who doesn't love some good anime?
Waifuware slant, mostly because it fit a lot of what my channel was doing at the time. There was a lot of fan service games on the channel. And, like, I was definitely building a lot of an audience with that. But one of the big things I was having problems with on my channel was growth. Not even just because I'm covering weird content, but because my upload schedule was few and far between. So Waifuware gave me this whole new world of focused small games that I could just make a video on and release one every week or two in between the main videos. So it was
that's actually really cool.
It was a way to create like a themed sort of show that I could just pop off.
Oh, that absolutely makes sense. And you mentioned some of them have gone Switch ports. Has that become more common with these types of games, or would you say most of them are still mostly just on Steam?
Steam absolutely has the lion's share of them. No doubt anybody who's been on Steam for 10 minutes has seen at least 100 of these games.
Oh yeah.
Some of them have got Switch ports. Some of them have like mobile ports and stuff too. Some of them absolutely could never be on console. But if they are going to be on any console, it will be Switch, because Switch is the only thing that's not exactly drawing a hard line against weird sort of sexualized content.
Which is weird, considering it's, Nintendo. And then there's literally a game called BDSM on the Switch store.
Yeah.
Wait, is there really?
Yeah.
Nintendo has...
It's an acronym.
Nintendo has kind of pivoted since the Wii U, thankfully. Because during the Wii U, anybody who has owned one probably remembers there was a lot of censorship controversy. Games like Tokyo Mirage Sessions especially was like hacked up quite a bit. That might make it sound more intense than it really was, but people were not happy. Nintendo's not doing that anymore. On the flip side, Sony is. And Microsoft is now to a certain extent as well. We had Galgun. The latest Galgun game was set to release on Xbox and Steam, and I believe maybe Nintendo Switch as well. I can't quite remember. It was kind of a landmark moment because Galgun is returning to Xbox where it started. And it was hilarious to everybody that it's not coming to Sony because their practices won't allow it anymore. But like at the last moment, I think Xbox canceled their version as well. And even back in the day, most people never really paid attention to it. But Xbox did demand censorship on the original Galgun as well. So I don't know, it's all a mess, but Nintendo is like the one company that's not really doing it right now.
Which is such an interesting, switch of, for lack of a better term, switch of fortunes, Yeah, I'm looking at the page. Wow, Xbox One canceled at the last minute.
Yeah, that's rough too. Because, the localization teams that bring these over, they don't make that much money.
Not at all.
These are niche games. They're not going to sell that many copies. Sometimes these niche games also have like massive word counts. So like people who are localizing 40-hour visual novels, for example, that is a lot of work. That is a lot of translation. That takes time. And then when they release the game, they have to price it at like $60 at least if they want to even think about making a profit.
Break even.
Yeah, and then people see that $60 and they're like, I'm not going to pay that for a visual novel, but like that's where we're at. That's just what it needs to be right now.
That's so true. And as someone going through the visual novel development process right now, I am on like chapter 2, like day 2 of what we want to call chapter 1, whatever. And the word count is already astronomical. And I am like staying up at night thinking about like, what do I do if I translate this? How am I going to sell this if it's more than like $10? And it's wild.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing as well is people are like, oh, it's like, but visual novels are so simple. I'm like, yes, they're simple, but there's, you know, they're not just visual mini games. They're literal visual novels.
Yeah.
I think I touched on this a long while back when I did a podcast with Sarah Lean, who has done a lot of translation work with Xseed, and just the time and dedication it takes to do this, let's be honest, often very thankless job is, you know, it's incredible.
Yeah,
Emphasis on thankless.
Xseed has a history that, like, they know what they're talking about when it comes to this, because they published all 3 Trails in the Sky games for basically no profit. And then they done Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, which I think have average word counts of about 300,000. So they're some of the biggest scripts in gaming. And Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 at the time released only on PlayStation Vita. So they done all that translation work for one of the smallest audiences out there.
If I remember as well, you know, I first really got familiar with the work by playing Ys Memories of Celceta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was a fantastic game, a really, really fantastic RPG. And it didn't it not get a PS4 Steam port until like last year?
Yeah, Celceta came out last year. I think it was like an HD re-release. I have it on Vita, but I've never played further than the first 5 hours. I think I just wasn't in the right mindset to be playing it at the time. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be when I first started it up, so I kind of just dropped it, moved on to something else.
No, I feel on that, especially because like Ys is a weird series to look at, because depending on like what like I feel like it kind of completely changes its gameplay style every few years. They're incremental changes that really add up. The Wise series, we're not going to do that. But like it used to be a lot of bump combat, as it was known. So like think more like Link to the Past, when you can like just hold out your sword and bump into the enemies. It was a lot more like that back in the day. Yeah, except for Ys 3, which was like side view. Oh, I'm going to say something that's going to get me hate. Imagine if Zelda 2 was good.
Hey, well, what are you stopping? Zelda, look, I am a defender of Zelda 2, okay?
I enjoy Zelda 2.
It's so good. Like, I mean, it's tough and it's cryptic, but I don't know, I like it. I also have a lot of nostalgia for it, though.
Here's some show lore for you, and also some stuff we play production house lore. Jamie lost a bet sometime last year, and in losing the bet, I made her play Zelda 2 on stream, and the whole time was her going, Jesus Christ, damn it, shit, the whole time, and it was so good.
That is the experience, though, isn't it?
It really is.
It absolutely is.
See,
and I remember at one point, like, I'd gotten so far, and I died, and I had to go all the way back to, like, that beginning fortress where you started off. And if you remember, it kind of broke me for, like, 5 minutes.
It did.
It's a pain, though. It is such a pain, though. Like, when you make it somewhere like the palace in the swamp or something, walking through the swamp is a nightmare. It is so slow and cumbersome. Then you die, like, way deep in that palace and have to start at the very beginning again, retrek your whole path. It's a pain. The game is a pain, but I like it.
It's so good.
And that's the thing about games, like, you know, people are allowed to like things I don't like. And also, shout out to my YouTube comment section. I just released a new video on Sonic Forces. and I said, you know, it's not a great game, but I like a lot of what this game has idea-wise. I like the soundtrack, and it's very pretty on PS4 especially. And for the first time I've ever, in a Sonic video, I've gotten so many comments that are basically just, you know, I really disagree with your verdict, but, you know, I really like how this is presented, and I can see where you're coming from.
YouTube was civil? Good job, YouTube.
I'm so proud.
I'm really hoping that my Nier Replicant review goes the same way, because that game is tedious as hell for like the back half of it, and like I like the game, but having to explain that tedium might make people think that I'm actually like really negative towards it. So I hope to God they just listen. You know, when you put a video out there, you really just want people to listen and understand.
Well, exactly, especially because I feel like, sorry, I'll get us back onto Waifuware in just a sec, but like, I feel like so often when you do a video, you know, there's this trend of people where it's like they watch the first 5 minutes and it's like, and then they go and comment like, well, why didn't you mention XYZ? And it's like, I did. It's at this timestamp later in the video.
Oh yeah, I got a comment recently that said, hey, a review isn't supposed to just be recounting story events. And I look at like, this was a review for Trails in the Sky Chapter 1. He's like, you're supposed to talk about gameplay mechanics and combat. So I opened the video. And for one, you want to talk about the story a bit in a JRPG. It's why people play the games. But I clicked through the video a little bit. Combat starts 3.5 minutes into the video. The guy didn't have the patience to wait until then. He didn't even have the patience to click through and see where the combat started. Within 3 minutes, he already had his comment typed out and posted and left the video. So people, yeah.
That is some serious popcorn brain.
Yeah. It's what it is. Whatever. Well, it's YouTube. We know what we sign up for.
Yes. But before the timer runs out, back on Waifuware, I have to know, what is the weirdest / worst, or maybe even both of those at once, Waifuware game you have ever played?
The worst is hands down a game called Stripper Anya. I think it was called Stripper Anya Demon Slayer or something. It is.
What a name.
It is.
What a name.
Absolutely atrocious. Like in almost every single regard, the game just utterly fails. The visuals are literally like vomit textures most of the time. The characters are so sexualized that it's uncomfortable to look at. They don't look right at all. It looks so weird. The few cutscenes where there's like dialogue, you can hardly understand what they're saying because it's recorded like crap. The game is kind of the game kind of plays like Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero for kind of plays like that, but
yikes,
worse. But it plays worse. Over the course of my playthrough, I found out that if you just hold the block button and mash your directions, you can bring the frame rate down to a single digit per minute. It's
oh my god!
It is not optimized at all. I don't know. The game's that's far and wide the most unpleasant playthrough I had on that channel or on that series.
I gotta ask, what engine is it running on?
Crap engine, poop slinger engine, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my god!
I have no idea.
I'm sorry I interrupted.
I love that because the timer just hit 0 and we came full circle to poop slinger.
It's running.
No, we did
it's running on the poop slinger 420 engine.
God damn it, Jamie. I can't. Let's wrap the show up. Let's please wrap the show up. I don't want to talk about Poop Slinger anymore.
Tark, thank you so much for coming on the show and enlightening me on Waifuware and RPGs and Poop Slinger. Where can people find you?
You can find me Tark's Gauntlet on YouTube, Tark's Gauntlet on Twitter. I have a Discord, I guess. I have a Facebook page, but I'm sorry if I'm never around there. It's Facebook.
Oh, it's Facebook.
I was going to say.
And of course, Speedrun is made possible in part by Podbean. If you would like to start a podcast of your own, or if you have a podcast that you're already running but would like to switch it to some nice paid hosting, then check out Podbean. It's who we use and we swear by them. So, maybe help us out a bit by going to podbean.com/speedrun or using the code speedrun at checkout. There we go. I got it. I actually had to check my notes for a sec.
Listen here, kids. Come up here on Mama Jazzie's lap. I'm going to tell you a story. Podbean is the shit, if I do say so myself. Don't say that word around your father. He'll slap the cowboy shit out of you. But Podbean, if you want to talk about video games or anything else on the internet, there's really only one option to go with, and that's Podbean, baby. For $14 a month, you can get their unlimited play and put as much audio as you want onto their platform. You can put up your own custom URL. You can customize your own webpage. You can see statistics from all around the world. What? And push your show onto multiple platforms and even your own custom RSS feed. If you don't want any of that, they also got a free option if you want to check it out. So, listen here. Mama likes money, so why don't you throw us a bone here and start a podcast? You know what I mean? Podbean. That's my plug.
Oh, speaking of stuff, you have another thing you need to plug as well, because you actually edit all these episodes.
I am part of the Cleveland Audio Mixology Producers House, and that is a group of producers that all work together on projects. You can find us at clevelandaudiomixology.com. We do podcasts, we do bands, we do all sorts of projects. I'm like the primary podcast gal, as it were. So if you do start up a show on Podbean, what you should, you need editing, what you do, you can come to me, baby. All right, no more plugging ourselves. Let's wrap it up.
Yes. So on that note, thank you to all our Patreon patrons and such who make this possible. I have been Jamie.
I've been Jazzie.
And joining us has been Tarks.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for listening. Stay classy, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.